Welcome to the Village Buchanan, October 22 of 2024 workshop meeting. Please join me in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, thank you. Okay. So first on the agenda, I think Marcus, you're going to take this one, sure. The Teamsters stipulation of agreement.
Sure. We had a little issue with the union regarding a promotion, and we reached a settlement between the labor attorney and their side. So this settlement actually is good for both parties. We get the agreement done, and both parties are happy. So you have the stipulation in front of you, authorizing me to sign in, and myself, and we can close this chapter and move forward.
You said the stipulation is in front of us?
It was, I think, Cindy included in the packet. Cindy included in the packet? No.
Yeah, there's usually not a packet for the workshop.
It was emailed.
It was emailed.
Because we did get in an email.
Okay.
Yeah, in the email.
I like hard copy. I'm old fashioned. I'm old fashioned like that. I like to mark things up. Okay, good, great. That's right. Yes, we did get an email. Okay, and just so everyone knows, Cindy Kempter will not be with us this evening, and we wish her a quick recovery. Discussion about the pool.
Couple years ago, the village hired an engineer. We had some issues with the pool, and the numbers kept on changing a little bit. We know it's a couple $100,000. They range in between $400,000 to $800,000, depending on how much work is going to be done. At that point, years ago, the board decided not to move forward, but to fix whatever has to happen. So we've been fixing. If anything breaks down, everything happens, we fix it, repair it. So the mayor asked me to send all the proposals we had originally, which I sent to the board. So the question would be is, if you entertain, again, talking to an engineer, we can go back to the original engineer who I feel his numbers kept on changing every time they met with the board. I did find another engineer recommended 2 villages use this other engineer. So we can bring him on a workshop in the future workshop. You can talk to both of them again. They both looked at the pool. They can both give you what their ideas are, and you can decide to hire either one of them and then do more studies and decide what you want to do, if you want to fix anything. The biggest issue that happened originally was because, let's go back in time, was because the wading pool, we had a leak. And when Bob was here, we had a substantial leak of water. We finally figured out the leak was between the main pool and the wading pool. When we shut off the water to the wading pool, the leak stopped. So that's why the wading pool has not been in operations for a couple of years. So the situation is, do we want to bring the wading pool back? The second engineer who I spoke to said that we could isolate the wading pool from the main pool, do a separate filtering system by itself, and that will be more cost effective because you're not connecting to the main pool and you're not opening the main pool issue. And you can open up the wading pool, or you could do a spray pool in that area if you wanted to, versus a wading pool. But that would be a couple $100,000 anyway, and the Department of Health approvals. But again, these are things, I'm not the expert, I'm not an engineer. He can give you options and say, do you want to redo the whole filtering system? Because the original pool is an outdated filtering system, which is a lot more expensive. We deal with the wading pool separately, try to fix that up a little bit, look at different options, or look at improving the major pool as well, which could be a major cost to the village. So it really at the pleasure of the board. Do you want to do something with the wading pool? We can leave everything the way it is, and just keep on fixing what breaks down and not do anything. So these are the options. And then I'm like, again, an engineer will be able to tell you more. And he'll be able to tell you what the current Department of Health regulations are as well.
And I know Bob was very much involved in that when we were going through all that.
Yeah, well, I do know that one of our options is not having them both filter with the same filter. Once we do any work up there, you can't have 2 separate bodies of water with the same filter system. And the pool has been leaking like this since, because I started doing the pool in 2001, 2002, and I didn't know what it was until I talked to former highway foreman Don Mackey, I told him I had a problem going with the pool, and he goes, "Oh, is that what's happening? That's been going on for years." So that's good. That's how far back it goes. So we just kept it going. The big pool, just to clear it up, the big pools would lose the water when you're filtering both bodies of water at the same time.
Correct.
So the way the fix was, just don't filter it at night. You won't lose water. You don't lose water, and it kept trickling during the day to keep the pool full. I remember doing a calculation of how much water we're losing every day we do. That's a lot of water.
And I know we need the pool for the camp because the camp, the pool go together. And I know we also have in that rec fund, it's around $200,000. So we have some money that's available there. But I think this is a good time to be looking at that before the spring comes. And I would like some engineering thoughts on what we can do, what our alternatives are, what our options are.
You know, we do have to really look into that because one of the big things when I met with the company that built the pool many years ago when Jeff was our foreman, and he informed me that this is before PVC.
Right.
So all our return piping is all cast aluminum.
Yes.
The chemicals eat it up. They actually gave a quote back then to repair it and actually put a liner in it of, I want to say like $120,000. And I'm probably talking like 2005, 2006. And that was digging up all around the outside of the pool and replacing all those piping with PVC.
Correct. And then you got to change
one of the many things that need to be updated.
And then you got to change the whole filtering system and they get Department of Health approval. So as soon as you touch that, then you got a Department of Health review. So again, I can bring both engineers back, or you're going to work with Bell or the two engineers, talk to both of them. Whatever you guys want to do.
My feeling is you bring both in.
Do they?
Two sets of eyes are better than one.
Yeah, but are we going to have a designer or a consultant maybe design something so they can actually tell us what they're going to engineer? Or are we going to give them, do they know the original build of the pool?
Yes, they do.
They do.
Yes, they do.
So they know where the problems are starting. So being that's what we need them to engineer, how to fix the leaks and how to fix the problems. But we also need a designer to design something for us so we have an idea on what we want to spend our money on.
Correct.
So the engineer is going to give us a design, an idea how to fix it and how to filter it. But we need a designer, a consultant firm with a designer to give us an idea of which best suits our village for our public needs.
Oh, correct. You're absolutely right there because we need a designer because when we get someone touching that pool, we have to upgrade all the codes.
Correct.
So it's going to have to be part of a design project there.
Correct. And both engineers will be able to provide those functions.
Yeah, but it's a design project that we're going to, we can also bring in the community and get them involved as well and see what they want. I mean, the spray stuff and all that with the wading pool, I mean, it's great for the young children, and I think it would be more of a lure to get them here on hot summer days. And I've been waiting for this to happen for years. I think it's great that we are finally looking into it. It's just an expensive journey, but I think it needs to be done.
I'll give both engineers a call, mayor, whatever you want, whatever meeting you want to bring them in, and maybe you can half an hour between the two or something.
Yeah, and the sooner the better because the year goes by fast. And what I'm seeing here in the village too is a lot of younger families moving in, a lot of younger children. So I think the wading pool or whatever would be great. Whatever the board decides.
Marcus, what's in the recreation fund right now?
About 200,000.
And in addition, when do we get the rec fees from the AMS project?
AMS project will be done at the time of the CO.
Okay.
This one is. So that's down the road, yeah.
And then the Carbone project will be time of the building permit.
Right.
Yes.
So that one comes in earlier.
So both funds will be replenished.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So we're just trying to think ahead.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right.
All righty. Good. I'm glad we're looking into
Let's
that.
stay with this though.
Yes, please.
Let's
Yes.
stay with this because I really do think this is overdone completely. I mean, since I've been involved, we've been discussing trying to get the pool and with these projects going on now and they can help us fund this, I think it's time for us to really make a move on this.
Yep.
Well, I think we need to rely a little bit on our rec committee to see what kind of ideas they came back with and feedback they came back with. So
perfect. Yeah, I'll call both engineers tomorrow.
Dan, there's a report at the next meeting.
okay, great.
The board will receive.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So you'll get back to us when those gentlemen can come in. Before you know it, it's spring again. We have with us our highway foreman, Scott Horton, and we're going to have a discussion this evening about the highway garage and the area around it. There was an issue recently with a resident who brought to our attention some things that were there and he wasn't happy with. And, you know, we do have people who live across from our highway garage on First Street. So we had some containers there, and I think that's another thing we need to address, what goes on in that area going forward. One of the things I know was his concern, and I didn't realize this is what happens when I never realized it, Bob, I don't know why. When the catch basins are cleaned here in the village, the pile of debris is left behind on First Street. It's close to our field, but it's more closer to the salt shed that we have. So that was one issue. The other was the salt shed. I know you guys are working on that. We needed a new cover for quite a while, and I know you're working on repairing that and putting that up. And one of the questions was with the salt shed, since that salt's been exposed for a while without a cover, is that salt still usable? Is it still good?
Yes, still good.
Okay, all right. What is the estimated time of the salt shed being restored?
Well, the frame is almost complete. It's probably 80% done. The issue was that we were getting to run around on getting cement block. Those dumpsters with the salt were only supposed to be in that parking lot for a week. And Anthony helped us out in getting cement block. Instead of a week, it took like 3 or 4. And that's why those dumpsters were there much longer.
Okay.
And so once we got the block, we got rolling, and we got the block on Friday, and today's Tuesday, and the frame's I would say 80% done.
Good.
So 75, 80%. And so I don't know if it'll be really done by the end of the week. It depends. We have a couple other things around the village we have to take care of also that on a regular schedule, but next week it should be done.
Okay, and we were just renting those dumpsters temporarily to store
Yes,
the
because I
salt?
didn't want to just dump them on the
Yeah.
salt
No.
on the ground. Whether if we dumped it on the dirt, then I mean, when it's in the salt shed, it's in the contained area. But if I just dumped it on the dirt, then it's kind of, I mean, we all know salt's not good for growing anything. I didn't want it to do anything to stuff around there. And then I think if I just dumped all the salt in the parking lot, I would have got a complaint. If I dumped and I put it in a dumpster, I got a complaint. So I don't think I would have won there either way. It was there much longer than I wanted it to be.
Okay.
So
what, I think the board and you and we have to look at your needs for storage over there. And the board had a discussion about this before about what we could do. Because I know you have some vehicles that are parked outside.
yes, I don't see the issue. There are 2 trucks outside. One of them we'll be getting rid of very soon.
Okay.
Because it was the old foreman's car, which is an old police car. But now we
That
have
thing is still working, huh?
barely, but yes, we still use it right now.
Okay.
But we got the new truck now. Right now, the new truck is out getting a coating in the bed of the truck.
Okay.
And so I still kind of need that old police car, the old foreman's car right now. And as soon as we get the foreman's car back, new truck back, we can put that old police car up for auction. So that'd be one car that won't be in
That
the
will stay
parking
out.
lot. The other one is our Chevy dump truck. We just don't have room in the garage for it. Because we've gotten more equipment in the last couple of years. And I don't really, if one truck is outside, I don't really see the issue. There is a plow that is chained to a pole in front of the garage. I mean, I don't I mean, I understand it's a highway garage.
Mhm.
I'm not
Maybe if we
just,
bring this guy over and we can have a resolution. Maybe we can talk to the neighbors and see if they're satisfied with what's going on and come up with a resolution amongst them, because they're the only ones that really see it. You
Right.
may be comfortable with it, they don't. Maybe we can all come up with an idea.
and every complaint he
satisfies.
had, I had an answer for.
Yeah, we
There
saw
was a
your-
reason. I'm not just going back there dumping a load of garbage in this area and saying, I don't feel like picking it up. There's a reason for everything that is there.
Well,
better communication.
can I make a comment? I think the containers are an eyesore. That's my feeling. If I lived across it, I wouldn't be happy about it. So why can't we come up with some kind of fencing that has lattice through it so that they don't have to look at it?
So we got pricing for some fencing in that grass area to block that thing up. So we got some pricing to get us that.
I have the prices here that I just got today, and I also
Yep.
got prices in the spring for this too.
Either let's find another home for
Why
them.
can't we relocate
They shouldn't
Okay.
belong there.
Can those
But
stuff,
weren't they moved? Weren't they moved to the back?
no, we're talking about
No.
the metal,
About
the metal.
The
Oh,
metal
what about the
recycling
dumpsters?
containers for the air conditioners and the metal.
Yeah, the
It's-
metal is a new one.
And I have a letter, because we talked
Mm.
about possibly moving into the sewer plant. I have a letter from Todd, the sewer plant operator, why they should not be at the sewer plant. So, I mean,
So the question
So
is,
what's his rationale as to why they shouldn't be at the sewer plant?
the county Department of Health doesn't want anything that must leak into into the system. Then, for those air conditioners have
Okay.
Freon, and so it's all reviewed by the county Department of Health.
It's getting treated.
Yeah, yeah.
What does that mean?
It's just, I think, more things that go in there that need to be treated.
There's a
and
lot worse
treated
things
different.
going down the toilet than
Oh,
that.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
that,
only, I mean, there's more than AC units. There's
Well,
not many
then-
AC units usually, so we always store them there anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, now we don't-
we'd have like 15
we
cars and
we
get rid of.
were told to take them out of there a few months ago.
Yeah.
That's why one of the dumpsters that I have now is just for air conditioners, because they can't go with the metal.
Correct.
And so we have one dumpster just for the metal, but because of Brookfield closing,
Mhm.
they gave us a dumpster free of charge. We still get paid for the metal when they come and pick it up. And so we have to put the metal in the dumpster, and then we have to add another dumpster for the air conditioners.
And so how, when the camp is going on, those dumpsters are out there?
No, all this just happened in September. So this is all brand new. We didn't know Brookfield was closing. One day it was just like they were closed. And we're like, what are we gonna do?
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
can
What
drive
did
to
you do before they
Ellsworth.
opened?
What's that?
Because they opened about 5 years ago. What did you do prior to that?
Carlemi,
On Lower
but
South
I'm
Street.
not sure. But where did we bring it?
We used to bring them on Lower South Street to Carlemi there.
Yeah,
Yeah, West South
was
Street.
there, that was, and then it was
And
Brookfield.
Brookfield, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, before Brookfield was there was someone else too that we went to. Brookfield took over that property, correct?
I'm trying to remember. if
Yeah,
it
there
was
was someone else there besides
between-
Brookfield.
Yeah. So is there a way that we can move that metal dumpster
The
like
two
further
dumpsters.
back?
The two
It's
dumpsters.
two metal dumpsters we have?
There's actually three, if I remember. Isn't there three?
Well, there's two
No, for
containers.
the metal, there's two
So-
storage bins that we got.
Then there's
from,
another, there's another cargo.
Energy.
Is that equipment that's kept in there?
Yeah.
Isn't there three?
Well, there's two for storage and two for the recycling. And then there's also the e-waste one that's back by the ball field.
Is the e-waste a problem? Is that a problem on weekends for people leaving that when you guys are not there and the gate's closed, or
I mean, there are times when people leave stuff there. I mean,
it's okay? You're not having an issue?
and sometimes people go back there and yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, they do leave stuff back there. It's usually not that bad, but I mean, it can be a pain sometimes.
I didn't know if what setting hours would be. But then again, how do you
Yeah, we don't have set
police
hours.
that, right?
We had
Yeah.
this 8 to 3,
Monday through Friday, but
Monday.
on weekends,
but
they
you can
drop.
just walk around the gate and dump stuff. Sometimes they leave stuff on the side of the garage by where the garbage trucks go, or sometimes they leave it in front of our other highway doors, and
Hmm.
so.
Going back, I know Dan mentioned the energy containers. We have 2 of them there, right, Bob? For storage. I know we had talked about when we got them, painting them the same color as our highway department. So maybe in the spring, when we decide what color the highway department's changing to, maybe we can just paint those up and then they'll blend in better with the building.
Well, Scott, you talked about fencing in that area back to possibly, right?
I think the fencing's the better answer.
Well, yeah,
How much
I
do
mean,
you want to fence in?
I got a price for the spring to fence it in.
How much of it?
That was, I don't have that
I think it
price
was
with me.
27,000.
It was expensive, and I just got 2 new prices, updated prices today. And one's much cheaper than the other. But
What are the prices that you have?
Yeah, you can read them. You can read them.
Yeah. It's a secret.
well, now I got one is for about 22,000.
Okay.
And then one gave me a price for a 6-foot high fence and an 8-foot high fence. I didn't know how high you would want it.
I'd say the higher the better.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
And then also to put the slat, the price doesn't include putting the slats in.
Okay.
And so for the 6-foot high fence, and this is with a gate, a sliding gate, so we can get our equipment back in for both of these too. So this one for the 6-foot high gate is just under 8,000. And for the 8-foot high gate is about 8,300.
That's the gate and the fencing?
Yes.
And how far were you gonna fence back there?
Just the
Is it
front.
concrete area or the front?
Where basically
Where the old playground was.
well, yeah, but just the front side
Mhm.
because
That's what's visible.
yeah,
Not the whole front, not the whole going
Where would
over
the
to
gate
the
be?
other.
it was going from the building to the playground fence.
Mhm.
Scott, are you gonna be down there tomorrow, 3 o'clock?
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come
That's
down
what's
and we're gonna
visible.
try and reconfigure everything down there. Maybe we come up with some kind of an arrangement. And reconfigure, maybe move some piles of material around, move something around, reconfigure where, how and when we're gonna put the fence up. And we'll bring it back to the board and see, for next week, see if we can come up with some kind of and we'll talk to the who made the complaint.
The neighbor, yeah, I spoke to him and he
Yeah.
just, he sent an email to everybody. He was upset
Yeah.
with what was going on there.
Well, it sounds to me as if space is a premium, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of space down there.
Well, but I'm saying if space is a premium, and we could find an area within the village to make, an area for just the recycling and the metal and so forth, I think we should explore it. We've got a piece of land sitting over on Blakely Avenue. Just throwing it out there. Sometimes you have to think outside the box.
Are you
What
talking
piece you
about,
Talking about the parcel on Blakely Avenue.
On the corner?
that might be up for sale?
Yep.
Is that the one? Okay. The only thing is, I will tell you straight up, I would be against going all the way up to the playground because then you're just expanding the playground if the playground ever gets, So somehow but you and Anthony and whoever wants to go tomorrow can discuss that, but you should leave a strip there at least.
Well, that's up to you guys then because
All right. Well,
I
we
need
can-
space
Yeah,
and I don't have space.
you're bulging at the seams.
Scott, what's the town doing with their metal now? Do you know? Out of Brookfield closed.
That I haven't asked them. I mean, I thought we had a good deal. We got a free
Yeah.
dumpster. We don't have to drive to Ellensburg. One, we don't have a truck that would, if we had to drive to Ellensburg back and forth right now, or there's another place in, I don't know if it's at Cold Spring or Garrison or whatever on 9 there. If we had to drive back and forth, that would add a lot of time to picking up metal. And we'd have to take smaller loads and we also have to get something. Our truck is not right now equipped with a cover on it. And I mean, that's.
So the dumpster is a good thing. That container is a good thing.
I think so. They
Okay.
gave it to us for free. They come and pick it up and give us another one. We just call them when it's full and we still get paid for the recyclable metal.
All right, we'll just find a better place for it, that's all.
So when you collect metal now, you have to dump it, then pick it back up with the loader or whatever to put it back in the dumpster. Or you
Yeah,
put it back in.
I mean,
That's gotta be a pain. I
that
mean,
is the
don't do
bad thing though. I mean, because now if it's light enough, you can throw it over the side. If not now, if it's heavy, we have to take it off the truck, put it in the loader and throw it over the side.
All right, good.
Your new backhoe has a 4-in-1 bucket on the front.
Yes.
Think outside the box.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Think outside the box a little bit. As Dan said.
Just, we can resolve things. We just have to work through it. All right, good. Anything else you want to tell us, Scoot? Any other updates or anything?
Not that I can
Not
think
too-
of.
Okay.
I have one question though, because I know you and I discussed this many times. How's the leach doing back there? That's getting pretty full back there too, isn't it?
Yeah, I
We keep getting
mean,
it back there, but we're gonna run out of space sooner than we think, aren't we?
yeah, there's a lot of leaves. I mean, and
That's gonna be an issue down the road.
eventually, yes, you're gonna have to figure out where to.
Where to truck down.
I mean, we've tried using some of that, and it really not.
Doesn't do much.
It doesn't. You could see where we tried to fill a patch somewhere, and nothing grows out of it.
Yeah.
So.
The only other option, and Con Edison gave us pushback on that, the paper road on First Street going up to Broadway. That is our paper road, and they've kind of built into our paper road. So that discussion needs to happen again, because that would be something that you could fill on that paper road. You could put, the leaves in to compact them and things like that. It would be like a little walking path over to Broadway. That's an option, and
Well, the
then
problem with the leaves don't compact that too well.
they just start blowing around
I've got the machine stuck
And
back
you-
there more than once
You can
Oh.
sink in them, yeah, with the,
on
well,
the paper road. Yeah.
with the leaves.
with the leaves.
Oh, with
I
the
mean,
leaves
well,
when they're
the things
down?
with the vehicles, yes, we've
Right.
sank in there and had to get pulled out.
Just thinking out of the box, Scott.
Marcus, in your other municipalities, you truck the leaves out, correct?
Yes.
All right, so maybe we should look into that.
Yeah, I'll email.
Okay, because they don't even charge for that.
I'll
They
email
come
some
take-
manager,
They
yeah.
come take
I
the
got-
leaves out,
I got it on my list.
they truck it out, they bring in walk-in floors, they bring in 30-yard containers, and they actually recycle them. And they use it to make compost, and they don't charge for that. So
Well,
that's
one
something.
time, we used to bring them to the town of Quarterly when
Right.
Dad was there.
Yeah, but they come take them now, free of charge, for recycling purposes, to make topsoil stuff, so,
I'll make some phone calls.
Yeah, find out who does that.
Mhm.
Okay.
you just gotta make an area to load everything,
Yeah, that's supposed to have to, yes.
so.
Mhm.
We've talked about that in the past, also getting a company there. Like you said, the problem was in the area to load. Where we bring them now is not gonna be an easy job getting them to them.
Right.
And the other property we would try to use was actually not our property.
I think we
That's
should
all
figure it
shit.
out.
Yep.
That whole strip back
I think
there,
it's
right?
doable, though.
Mhm. Okay, good.
All right, good. The last thing is the parking lot. We did discuss that early in the spring about where the highway department is, of repaving that. So that might be something to keep on the list for possibly next spring's blacktopping.
Well, part of that is
I thought it
being
was-
blacktopped in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, some of it, but not
Yeah,
the
not
whole
thing,
area,
no.
right? All right, well,
Yeah, some of it is on the scope.
yeah, so just something to keep in mind. All right. Any other questions for Scoot? Yeah. we're
No,
good?
I'm gonna come down tomorrow, maybe I can give you a hand, maybe reconfiguring some stuff down there. I mean, if you don't mind,
Fine.
maybe we can figure this out. Talk to the Mike and see if he's good with everything. As long as you're good with it, and he's good with it, we're all good with it.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think we're gonna agree.
On everything, right?
Well, everything was agreeable until September came, and then everything got switched around, so now it seems like we have to get back to where we were.
Yeah, I don't agree with the assessment that it looks like a third world country. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
that's a little exaggeration in my opinion.
Well, I was there, it doesn't look like a third world country. I saw
I
what was
agree,
going
it
on.
doesn't.
Just needs to be
I don't think
tidied
it
up a
does.
little.
And
that's all.
I don't agree with his assessment that there's no leadership at the highway department. I was telling that too.
I would tell him that too.
I think you're doing a great job, Scott.
Yes, you
Okay.
are.
Yep.
Yes, you are.
So. All right, we're good? All right, thanks,
Thanks,
Scott.
Scott.
You can
Thank
get off the
you.
hot seat now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, I just have a few things. We talked about the field of flags and, oh, Scoot, stay one more minute. Sorry, Scoot. Not getting off that easy. If somebody could grab that, I found it's a 10-foot pole. And we talked about field of flags and on the village lawn. And that's a 10-foot, and that seems to be pretty sturdy. The only problem, and I'd like to get some of them up for Veterans Day, and then we'll work on the other part of it for Memorial Day. But it's got a point to it, so we have to figure out how to put that into the ground and make it secure.
Well, you said it has a point on the bottom?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's gonna hold it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we might. I think Anthony had mentioned before, like a sleeve in the ground, or did you mention that, Bob, a sleeve? I'm not sure who mentioned that. But, you know, in this way, it could just be put into the sleeve. And then you don't have to worry when you're cutting grass. It could just be low enough where you could.
Oh, you mean to keep it in there permanently?
No, but just to make it secure, because if it gets windy, I don't know I don't know how well that's gonna work, but it seems to be.
Screws on each side that screw in, once we get it in this.
Yeah.
You know.
So you don't know if it's a windy day, you know, it's not gonna.
Does that just slide in, or does it have screws in it? Like
that one just slides in.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can leave that here at Village Hall, and you can see, you know, what that looks like.
Yeah.
And then we could start the process.
That's the only one you have right now, or
that's the only one I got right now. I'm working on it.
That's fine. I mean, a couple years ago, I bought the kneeling soldiers. That I don't know. I've had them out front here.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the one at the pavilion too. I put them out Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Yep.
So.
All right, and then I think, you know, we could put those out Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and July 4th. So yeah, it's going to be hard if we leave that year round for you guys to cut grass and everything. So, but you know, those are important days.
Flag Day.
Flag Day, yeah, could do that, June 14th.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Scoot, now you're off the hot seat. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks, Scott.
Run.
Okay, we were talking about the poles that need to come down on Albany Post Road. Have you gotten any update from Con Edison yet?
No, Verizon said they're gonna check the Albany Post Road, see which ones can be moved down. So they were checking on that as of the last email that I sent to you.
Okay, so these are the poles that are double poles on Albany Post Road. The tops are cut off. All those wires have to come onto the new main pole. The last I spoke to the PSC, they said that Con Ed had to do a feeder outage, but they couldn't do it in the summertime. They had to schedule it for the fall. Best Web, which is the one with the biggest amount of communications on it, there's 12 pole transfers. So I'm waiting to hear back from the PSC, and then you're waiting to hear back from Con Edison.
Yeah, and Best Web has changed to First Look. That's their new name or something like that. So they've been changed.
We really got to get a look at the one in the corner of Albany Post Road and Catherine Street, because it's really dangerous. There's 3 poles right there, and you have to pull up at the intersection just right to look through them all to see the traffic come from the south.
Well, I did see Con Ed trucks looking at those poles about a week ago. There was 2 service trucks, big bucket trucks,
that's very dangerous.
and they were assessing it. So I don't know whether they were just trying to line up what their work schedule is going to be and just looking at what they had ahead of them. But
their work is completed there. It's Verizon now.
Now it's Verizon.
Yeah, it's Verizon.
The rest of the
Verizon's pole.
Okay.
owned by Verizon. All the utilities left hanging on Verizon.
Yep. And
Yes,
they're
Web is
responsible.
also-
The last one in is the last one out is we'll have to move it. That's normally Verizon. Correct.
Is Best Web still on those poles? I think
They could be. They
Yeah.
have to move and then Verizon.
they have to go, and then Verizon.
Yep.
So it's in the works. We're still looking at that. So sorry, it's just not everybody moves as fast. Cool. Do the highway department. What else? Oh, I'm trying to schedule with the Tarrytown mayor for a site visit on their waterfront. And also, there was availability on Friday, November 1st at 10 o'clock, but I will get back with a definite. Also, she recommended speaking to the Sleepy Hollow mayor and going to Sleepy Hollow with their waterfront. They're a little more similar to what, you know, what we're doing with our waterfront. So I'll let the board know when there's a definite time when it's good for them to meet with us. Sharon is working on a flyer. It's the Welcome to Buchanan flyer. She had a rough one done a year or so ago, and now she's going to update that, and our building inspector is also going to look at that. So when new people move into the village, and I think the first one should go out to absolutely everyone, because it's going to have contact numbers and different things like that. But I think that would be good for new residents that come in so that they're aware of different things. What else? I think, oh, you know what? One thing I just want to ask the board, and this has been talked about on and off for years. What are your thoughts of us looking into solar panels, either for the highway garage or the sewer treatment plant? And we've talked about this before, but there's a lot of incentives out there now. They're really trying to get people to use solar, and if it would help us to save some money on our cost. And I know NYSERDA usually has some funding. Is that something the board would be interested in looking into, solar on our buildings? Or
I would say yes. I have them on my house. It's amazing what it does to your electric bill. So, and if there's incentives through the state on grants and so forth, then I say we take advantage of it.
And I think NYSERDA is also willing to come to speak to the board. Yeah, and do an assessment. So look into that. The only other thing I had to say is I went to the firehouse inspection last week. It was well attended. Everything looked great. All the equipment looked great. The fire department, the fire trucks, everything was great. And I want to thank the Buchanan engine for what they do for us. You know, it's a lot of young new members, which is great to see too. And the only other thing, the Halloween parade the other day. Thank you, Jackie Pasquale. Did a great job, our recreation supervisor. There were a lot of kids there, a lot of happy kids, a lot of candy, a lot of wired up kids after that with sugar, but it was very well attended. It was great. Our police department was there. They had their trunk open with Halloween decorations and giving out candy. So it was a fun afternoon on Saturday. So I love going to those things. These kids are so cute. They're all happy. So, and that's important. Okay. Any other board members? Any other comments? Or anything you'd like to say, Bob?
I just have a question about some streetlights that are out in Old Post Road. I believe we took care of those in the past. I think we actually put in LEDs there right by the bridge on the southbound side of the bridge. The railroad bridge. There's like 3 or 4 streetlights out there on Old Post Road. Okay. Very dark there. And just to follow up with the fire department, there's a trip plan for the members of the department to go inspect the new truck. Oh. It's one of the final stages before we accept it that they're going there on November 7th. Okay. For that, so hopefully we'll get that truck before Thanksgiving or sometime soon thereafter.
Great. Thanks for the update, Bob. Thank you. Good. Yeah, I think they were hoping to have it before the inspection, but you know.
Well, it's being built in Bradenton, Florida. So in Bradenton, Florida, it's pretty hard with the storms down there. So I hope that wasn't going to be a submarine.
Real bad. Yeah, my cousin lives in Bradenton.
So from right here, it survived.
Good. Oh, Will, did you have anything this evening?
Yeah, well, 2 things. I want to thank Jacqueline as well. She did a great job on the parade. Yes, the children were happy, but so were the adults, and the costumes were amazing. I'd also like to thank the beautification committee. They always decorate the circle very well. I was inspired by their ghosts. I went and bought a few for my home, but I can't decorate it as nicely as they did. So thank you for that.
And then the beautification committee too also has the trunk or treat. So they're also out there and part of the parade, which is great. They're a big part of our community, and we thank them. Anthony, what do you have for us?
Not much, just, yeah, the circle looks great. Everything looks great and the parking lot, I did a little research, looked over at the parking lot across from Fat Sal's there. The wall looks good. It's coming together. It's unfortunate that it's affecting them over there business wise, but it's going to come out nice. It'll be good for everybody. I just want to touch base on one thing. The other night there was an incident in the village on Friday night, and there was some unfactual information out on social media, like there usually is. And our police were there. I was there with them. I spoke to Officer Reg. Sergeant Tiernan was there as well. They did exactly what protocol asked them to do. And I was, happy with, obviously we're all happy with the outcome of the situation. But when people go on social media and they choose to put unfactual information, it's irritating. And these guys go out with a gun and a bulletproof vest on, and none of these other people do. So I want to thank them for being there for us. And I want to just hope that people in the village can start using their mind before they go on their keyboard and try to separate this village. Thank you.
So unfortunately, that's nothing new here in the village. Unfortunately, we've seen some horrible instances. But yes, thank you for bringing that up, Anthony, because our police department was out. I was on Henry Street where the incident occurred, and they were definitely there. I saw the officers, and everything turned out well. It was handled well. Everybody was professional. It was a good outcome. So thank God for that.
And thank them. Thank you to them.
And the Westchester County Police was there. The state police were there. Our Buchanan police were there. Everybody worked as a team, and the resolution was good. Okay, Dan, what do you have?
No, just to hit on what Will and Anthony said, Buchanan Circle looks great. Nice to see everything decorated for the seasons. Also, great job by the police department. The outcome could have been a lot worse, and the fact that nobody, was harmed or injured and protocols followed, it was a great thing. And just a reminder, it's fall. If you're blowing leaves, please try and keep them out of the street, keep them on the curb. Otherwise, everything ends up in a catch basin. So just a friendly reminder. Other than that, that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, good. Thank you, Dan. Any comments from the floor?
Hi, my name is Lori Birch. I live on Donahue Court in Buchanan. Just to add on to the pool discussion, I know I worked at the camp for 20 years when I was younger. One issue that's always been going on there, don't know if it's been addressed yet, is the ants in the grass area. Something to think about. I know a lot of people avoid it because you want to sit there and relax, and you can't because they're all over your chair, they're all over the kids' towels, etc. Just didn't know if there was something already set up or if it could be looked into. Along with, not that we want to spend money, but the tree line, bringing more sun in. Maybe that could be looked at the south and the west side, not so much the north and the east side. Just a thought. I'm not quite sure, with the village growing, I know there's going to be more storage issues as far as trucks and equipment go. I know way back when I'd go to camp and I'd see those plows just right up against the fence, and I just thought, oh, I hope nobody trips on those. Parents park everywhere to get their kids in every direction. I don't know what the answer is, but hopefully with Anthony going down to try to resolve it along with the complaints that were coming in. I guess when you live there, you don't want to see it. So totally understood. Quick question. Was anything about the recreation survey going to be shared as far as feedback?
Yes, at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
We just wanted to give everyone a chance to respond.
Sure.
So if there's anyone else out there, please respond to the recreation survey. And I'd like the recreation committee members to come in at the next meeting to discuss the findings.
One other thing, because I live on Donahue Court, our streetlights and the electrical are different than a lot of the other areas in the village. The street lamps sit lower and they shine 360, not a downward motion. I had called to ask the highway department if they could look into possibly getting shields that can cover 270 degrees or 180 degrees, because these lamps on Donahue and Valerie and a few other places like the Circle, when you're living there, that light shines in so bright now that they are LED. Some houses it doesn't bother, some it does. I'm sorry?
I got the same problem.
With the bright light.
Yeah, because they're,
Yeah, it's a 360.
They're not elevated yet.
Exactly. So they came to try one light near our driveway that shines right in our living room. They put up, I think it's called HVAC tape. It's like aluminum tape.
Metal tape, yeah.
It kind of looks like somebody went in there with a pizza box and jimmied it in and made it. I think for those people like ourselves who would like to have part of that blocked off and just across the street, maybe it could be considered rather than this aluminum tape. Yeah, we tried one. It's in one of them, but some of them, even wheels, I know you see them, they shine so bright even from the corner to your house. But just, it's a thought.
You can contact the vendor and see if they have shields for
Yep.
those.
I've looked into them myself. I know they're out there, they're available. Just didn't know what the cost would, run to depending on how many you do. Real quick, a couple meetings ago, Teresa, I heard you were bit by a dog at the Circle, even though it was leashed. Did we find out any more information regarding our access with the town of Cortland? Because I had trouble with a dog concern over a year ago, constantly being loose, constantly on the run. And then a different neighbor had a dog that was just in everybody's house except theirs. So I know where it goes, but it's not my job to bring the dog back every time. Or if I say I know where it lives, someone says, well, go get them. I'm not even home to go alert them. Do we have any more information as far as the kenneling of the dogs? If they catch dogs, are they still offering that to us like they were a year ago? Town of Cortland?
I spoke to the chief and he said that we don't really have that many issues with dogs, and usually goes on Facebook, and then, if some dog is lost, then, right away and within Buchanan, but there's always going to be that time. You are correct. And that's something, Marcus, where were we with that? We were supposed to call the town to see if we could.
Yeah, the supervisor will like you to call him and talk about it.
Okay, we've got a few things to talk about, so
Yeah.
I will talk to him.
Good, so I know that'll be followed up.
Okay. Yes.
Just two more points I wanted to make.
Sure.
I'm not that old, I'm not that young, but I do prefer and would like to voice the fact that I like the old newsletter when it told you it was garbage day. I know they're including commingle day and they just alternate, and that's pretty easy. Could they listen to another request of don't make it a code, don't make it harder for seniors, and go back to the old way? We're trying to save paper, bring down the quality of paper, but still send it out. Simple solution.
Oh, like with the calendar, the calendar every month.
Yes.
Yeah, people have been asking for that.
Right. So I'm in the middle there, and just put it like it is. Don't. They say if it's not broken, don't fix it. It wasn't broken. We're not saving that much money on paper. So, or to pick a lower quality of paper, thinner paper, who cares? But put it back so it's just understandable for everybody across the board. Lastly, just wanted to find out if curbs on Lower 3rd Street are in the master plan. I had 2 properties on 3rd Street that have had runoff because of the hills that go up and down, especially at the lower end of 3rd, and run off into a neighbor's yard. And then they get mad at me because our debris from the next door neighbor runs in the gully and gets to their house. Just didn't know if it was something, maybe it was overlooked. maybe because it's a quiet street, nobody talks about it much, but I still have a property there and there's only about 10 feet of curb, but I have another 50 feet of property. So I still have that runoff happening at the one house. Just didn't know if it could be not forgotten or possibly looked into so that we could find out if that could get done. Just curbing.
Yeah, I think last year I know the property you're talking about, and it was like a big gully.
Yeah,
there
it's like a divot, and they put rocks in for who bought the property, but the neighbor is still not happy because those rocks, not my problem anymore.
Well, they end up in the intersection.
Yes,
Well,
they do at Center Street. They end up at the bottom of Center Street and it's a mess. But I still have property at Tate and Third that I would like to keep it nicer, but with the runoff, it's difficult. Okay. So that was the last of it. Just wanted to see if that could be checked out or if it's in the plan.
All right. We could look at that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Lightning, I never come, Darlene Garrett, First Street. So I hear a lot of, we're going to work on this, we're going to work on that. There's very few deadlines that I've heard today, or, when is the next follow-up going to be with Verizon or Con Ed? When was the last follow-up? Mm-hmm. Also, it was mentioned by Mr. Stewart about the AMS and Carbone. What are the figures? I just haven't heard them. What are the figures?
Marcus is putting that together. We'll have it at the next meeting. It's substantial.
And that's all just for recreation budget, or?
No.
Code fees and
maybe Marcus has it now.
We just received the building permit fee for AMS. It was $600,000 for the building permit fee. And then I'm calculating the taxes will be annual, and then the recreation fee. I'll have all those numbers for the next meeting.
Okay, because you were talking about, the pool, which I think is important, which I'm a little confused why we're still talking about that. I mean, my kids are now, 30 and we're still talking about this. And I just think that we need to give ourselves some deadlines here. Listen, I don't like to be a Monday night quarterback. I don't come all the time. I'm going to try to come more, but I would assume some of this stuff must be in the budget planning, which I will get my hands on, this week, but I don't know how a lot of this stuff is not in budget already or discussed. I mean, we've been talking about this for 20 years.
Yeah, the pool we've been talking, I've been here 6 years, we've been talking about the pool. The problem is it's $500,000 to $800,000 for the pool. And the board was not interested in bonding that money. And there was seems to have much interest in bonding that amount of money. So the situation is financial.
Yeah, and again, I don't have kids anymore, but we're charging people to go to camp, right? We're charging people to utilize the pool. I didn't know about the ant situation on top of that.
I haven't had any complaints about ants I haven't had any complaints from ants. I'll find out from Jackie,
lifeguards,
but I haven't heard anything for the last 2 or 3 years. So that's something new to me, but I'll find out from them tomorrow.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know, maybe, and I do apologize, like maybe this is all on the docket somewhere and there's dates, but I hear a lot, the black topping of the garage area. Nice idea, should be cleaning up. Fencing is probably the best thing to do down there, of course, and Mr. Capicati is going to go down there, which is great. But if we need to blacktop, then we need to blacktop, and let's put it on the docket to blacktop. When can we afford it? Does it make sense before we do the pool? After? I don't know.
Just to let you know, every time when we discuss the budget, the board discusses all the streets of blacktopping. I don't know if you've been watching the meetings, but every year they talk about what areas are going to blacktop, what streets are going to blacktop. We have a schedule that goes through on an annual basis with the building board. So that is discussed.
Yeah, there's an assessment that's done by the engineer, and he comes back with his recommendations as to the streets, and then we look at the budget and we figure out, where's it needed most, and what's in the budget to do the paving project for the year.
I think we put curbs up on Gallagher Street this year. That was a debacle of a job, whoever did it. As far as the timing of that job was just incredible.
I think we're all in agreement on that.
And just hearing from this over here that curbs have been needed for how long in that area. So how did that choice get made? I don't know. And I know my family lives up on Gallagher. So I can
kind of let you know the whole 3rd Street curb issue. I believe many years ago when we redid that road, they actually asked the residents if they wanted curbs. And most of the residents do not want
Say no.
curbs. And in my opinion, the curbs are the villages and we should curb what we want to curb. And
I was just
whatever we
going to
wanna
say
do.
that.
That's my
My
opinion.
dad got arrested,
Yep.
worked for the village. He ran the village of Croton for years, and
If I had my
That's
way,
up
I'd
to the
curb every road in this village.
And here's the thing, and Bobby will say it, and every board member up here will say it. When you go to put curbs in, and it's a football every single year that we decide where we're paving. Because some people want them, some people don't. Some people want a second cutout, other people, so we have to it's something that we've spoken about, and we've got to take a stance on it and say we're either going to curb it or we're not going to curb
Correct.
it. And that's it. And people are going to have to understand it.
okay.
So when I mentioned before about the black topping down there, I was saying to put that on the list for next year because we're already settled for this year and we should be done by the middle of November, our black topping. And the other thing I think you were alluding to is, so there is a fee for the new developers, a recreation fee. So don't quote me on the amount, but it's about $300,000 that we'll be receiving. They were not too happy about paying that. There was some pushback on that because they said they had their own pool and their own whatever exercise equipment and everything. But those people are going to be part of this village and they're going to be using our recreation facilities. So it was important that, they were charged a recreation fee. Same thing across from the church with Carbone. They'll also be charged a recreation fee. The only difference was for years, we only had it on subdivisions. So like Valerie Court, Donahue Court, that's where most of that 200,000 that we have in the rec fund is in there. So because we're doing apartments, we had to change the code to charge for the apartments because they're village residents. Once they move in, they're village residents. They have every opportunity to use our facilities. So they should be paying some type of a one-time fee, 300,000, or roughly, it was about 300,000.
Yeah, that was what I was referring to because when you were talking about the pool and utilization to replace the money potentially to use the pool. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the only other thing was the PSC. So with those polls.
Yeah.
So it's difficult dealing with any state organization. We had a guy, Ty was his name, who worked for the PSC. He was on top of everything with these polls. Of course, as fate would have it, he retires the end of July. So, and usually it's the PSC that pushes the utilities to get this done. Because technically, what the law says is once the utilities are notified, they have 30 days to correct the issue. So we're way beyond that.
Well, I don't know if it's, let's face it, it's a liability. It's a liability for anybody walking their dog, such as me on that road and others, I'm sure in this room. And so I don't know, do the residents need to get involved and petition and do something here? Because it is a liability at this point.
Yeah, especially where Bob said the corner of Albany and Catherine Street. That's a sight distance issue. That is, I don't know, maybe that's what we need to do.
That's a bad stretch there to begin with the traffic.
And those poles run all the way down Albany Post Road if you have.
Into Montrose.
They're through Montrose,
Yep.
all the way down to the train
They're in
station.
Peekskill,
and
they're in Court.
They're everywhere, and it's all Verizon, and they own the poles now, and they're just not, if you see the top of the poles are cut, all the energy is up top, Con Ed is done, and the remainder of the work is Verizon, and I know Marcus has been trying diligently to get in touch with them to get this resolved, and I don't think it's happening anywhere in the county.
That's correct.
So it's a cost thing for these companies. So if you don't push them,
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we can get enough residents to, if that's helpful, or how we could go about doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spearhead that.
We could
That'd be
use the
great.
assistance.
Yep,
Absolutely.
get them moving.
I'll be calling Verizon Wireless tomorrow and telling them what I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Dorothy.
thank you. Anyone else? Eileen?
I don't know how long my voice will last out, but not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, I believe, or Sunday, I should say. I saw a lot of cars parked down to Steve's house across the street. I figured it was a birthday party. So I didn't, think anything of it. I did what I had to do, and I left about, I'd say 5:15, 5:30. Now the cars were parked from where Wiesner's house was, and I don't know the new family, but the ones with the motorcycles that go up in the top. It's already parked down to Henry Street and up to the curb, and there's a cardboard sign that with balloons on it that says bingo.
Really?
So
Is that what was going on there?
yes, it was.
I didn't see the sign.
It was bingo.
Bingo.
Bingo. And there had to be a minimum of 50 cars.
I saw the cars. I didn't see the sign.
Yeah. I mean, they were all parked.
They were past my street.
Were they on your street too?
They were past Valerie and then all the way down down Tate.
Oh, I didn't even see that far. I saw it down to Henry Street.
Yeah.
And, families, gentlemen, women, kids. I mean, but they were parked all the way up to the top of the curve, also up by where Mr. Gallagher's property used to be, by Lake Drive, past Lake Drive. And then one SUV had to park on the opposite side of the road. He ruined the whole thing, or she ruined the whole thing. Whoever drove the car ruined the whole thing because nobody could pass. You couldn't go 2 cars on Tate Avenue. But I just wanted to know, is bingo for 100 people allowed? I thought the church had to have a permit. Wouldn't a resident have to have a permit also?
Yes. Definitely a permit.
Yes. But it was bingo with the balloons above, and the sign was about this wide and about that high.
It's in our code. Yeah, we changed the code to allow games of chance here in the village. So that's in the village, and that's a game of chance.
So it's okay.
We allow games of chance with a permit.
Yeah, all right. Do they have to have
a permit? Yeah. No, we allow games of chance, but it has to be permitted.
You have to be registered, you have to have a permit. We didn't know about it, right?
Yeah, no, they didn't ask for a permit.
Says it's a family.
No, I'm sure.
Is this the first
family that
time,
has
or is this like a continuous weekend?
Well,
thing?
I don't know. And my other question is, how many garage sales can you have in a season?
Well, some people
many
have
garages
continuous.
Well, there's only one garage, but there's multiple sales over the course of summer. Could be weekly, could be bi-monthly, not monthly, but it's more frequently. So it's just a point that, and that also, ties up traffic too. So just 2 little things, but the bingo, that was a biggie.
I'm going to look into that because they were parked in front of my house. I would say at least 30 cars across the street, up that block from my home. I didn't see the bingo sign, but I think I know the family that might have hosted that.
Yeah, it's the
I'm
house
going to knock on the door and find out.
Yeah, it was the house with the volleyball net in the front yard.
Yeah, I know exactly the house you're talking about.
And I'm not trying to stop anything.
No, I know. You just want
That's
to
why
know
I thought it was a birthday party, because at 15 years of age, isn't that a large, in the Spanish culture?
I can tell you, yes, it's a huge party. I can tell you it's a large family. I have seen them hosting a party once a year.
Okay.
I cannot tell you that I knew there was a bingo game.
Well, see, you couldn't
and
really
I don't know
see
if bingo meant the game, because bingo means got it. You hit the ball, what is it, the nail on the head?
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were hosting a party, if they were playing bingo. I don't know. But I will ask.
Okay.
Okay?
Right. Yeah, it was just a lot of cars.
No, they did keep them all on one side.
Yes.
I missed the one that parked on
And
the
he was
opposite
late.
side.
He or she was
Yeah.
late.
But they were a lot.
But
You're right.
They were he was on the right side of the Tate Avenue, whether that's west, east, whatever it is, south.
Yeah, you could have called the police. It's illegal without a permit. They could have stopped it.
Well, I didn't even know I didn't know it was a bingo game until later in the afternoon. I mean, this started early.
I mean, they would have had to see the game going on.
Yeah,
Right?
they would have knocked on the door for the day.
It's all fenced.
Absolutely.
So, it's all fenced, so it.
Yeah, you can't see
There
back
was, I can't say it was a caller, calling numbers or
Right,
anything.
you just saw the
But
sign.
you could hear it, but it wasn't music, because I've heard the music before.
Yes.
That's a different story. But I couldn't necessarily hear he or she calling any numbers.
Okay.
But it said bingo, so.
I'll find out. Okay, thank you.
Question for you.
Yes.
Are those wires, because Optimum will be here at our next meeting, because we're going to have a public hearing on that. Are those wires still on your pole out front, or was that addressed?
No, they're still outside on the pole. See, I have underground Optimum to my telephone pole.
Okay. But they were dangling there, and
Yeah,
I
everything
had
is-
mentioned
yeah, that's
something to
it.
Frank
Yeah,
Oliva.
that's all. It's either on the ground, and the highway department is nice enough to come and take away all the weeds. At least chop them down with the weed whacker. I mow them. But yeah, they're still, I haven't really looked, Teresa, because I mow around it.
Okay.
But that's one of the reasons. But the stakes are in the ground yet. I put them there so that nobody would mow in case I wasn't mowing. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, one last question.
Oh, yes.
In regards to the questions that were asked, next meeting, does that mean the first meeting of the month or the next workshop?
First meeting.
So that everyone's clear about that.
Yeah, it's not next week, because
The
next week will
workshop.
be the 29th. So it'll be the first Tuesday in November.
No, it was a question of figures from Marcus.
Oh, that's
And
right.
next meeting.
Election day.
Yeah, the next board meeting, which is 2 weeks from tonight.
November 6th for Margaret?
November 6th.
Yep.
November
November
6th.
6th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forgot election day. My goodness. No, I'll be out voting. That's for sure. And I hope everyone else does too. Any other comments from the floor? No? Okay. So.
Anya Dresik from Travis Avenue. I just wanted to know, I guess you said the AMS, it's like 300,000, possibly 300,000. Are those fees, what are they going to be used for? Are they earmarked for a particular use?
That's going into our recreation.
That's different fees. The building department fees goes into the general fund, and that goes to the fund balance, and the village board can use it.
No, I'm talking about the rec fees.
The rec fees.
Rec fees go into the
it goes just to recreation facilities who are dedicated by the village board determines how that money to be used.
Okay, well, I just didn't know if they were already had an idea what they were going to use them for.
Not unless the board knows. No, I don't think the board has made a determination yet.
Okay. And the same thing with Carbones. You don't know what you're going to possibly use those for yet, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Okay, if there are no other comments or questions, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss negotiations and
Personnel.
personnel. And I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for coming, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
great Buchanan day.